There we go. Good morning. How are y'all?
Good
I
morning.
need to touch up my coffee.
Emma's touching up her coffee.
Come on, you're gonna get killed if you eat that coffee.
So I hope everybody's doing well.
You can go ahead and
Or
do the intros.
all we got one.
What?
I said we got one.
Yeah. Well, I just posted it. I posted it kind of late. Say who you are.
So I'm Timmy and Amber. Well, you know Amber, and we are two of the five that moved from the city, from the East Coast to the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, and we live here on our homestead, off grid, and we're we're doing all right.
We're just joining in for coffee this morning.
Thanks for joining us for coffee.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm late. I had to get my coffee. Can't have coffee chat without a coffee, right? Or well, coffee. I need more coffee. Timmy always hates it when I leave him right when we're going live, so I'm sure I'll hear about that in a moment. He doesn't like doing the intro.
No, it's more or less like, why don't you go up there and talk to those people standing over there? Same thing.
I'm going to sit there and adjust this for a minute, y'all. Okay. I think we're good. Close. I can't see who's here or anything. But anyhow, good morning. So sorry we missed last week. I was sitting here trying to rack my brain why we missed last week. And now I remembered. Wow. Well, actually, I told Sherry about it in chat last week. So I had to go back to our chat to remind myself what we were doing.
Okay.
Explain it. Explain it to me. We were prepping for the soap class. And I was like up to my ears in lard and lye. There you go.
Lard and lye.
Lard and lye. It's like a made up story, but it ain't. Because I was so busy. Let me regroup.
We're here today.
Minute, y'all. Good morning, honey. Sherry, I was just talking about you. I don't know if you were here yet or not. But anyhow, so we'll talk about last week. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, I apologize. It's not scripted. We're not actors. We're just having coffee with friends. And that's pretty much, this is what you rolled into. So grab yourself a seat and get some coffee. So we've been busy the last 2 weeks. I've been really busy with work. Timmy's been busy on the homestead.
It's been hot.
It's been over hundreds and it's miserable. And thank the Lord for a saltwater pool. And if we didn't have that, I wouldn't be happy.
I don't think anybody would be happy.
No, we don't have central air or nothing, y'all. And Timmy, I call him my window, my fresh light Nazi. I also call him the electricity Nazi. And there's a couple other words I have for him, but it all ends in Nazi. Because I can't stand a dark home. And he likes a cool home, which I totally understand because I do too. But he walks around the house putting those blackout curtains over everything, and I can't see.
Well, I think the cool home is a bit impossible in this time of season. So we're just going for
tolerable,
bearable. Yeah. And it's if
he's my sunlight Nazi.
I'm not gonna explain it.
So as soon as that sun passes and it's no longer beating down at the window, I'm ripping off the covers. I can't stand functioning in the dark. And when I met Timmy, his room was painted like this dark forest green. Everything was dark. He had blackout curtains, the whole 9 yards. And rightfully so. You were a tugboat captain and you worked all hours of the day. So you needed it to be dark, right?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it dark because I would come home in the morning and I would need to sleep, and I couldn't sleep with the sunlight, so.
And it just stuck with them. And I'm opposite.
And a dark wall color, and I was good to go.
I have to have the sunshine and everywhere.
So.
But anyhow, so back to what we were doing last week. Sunday, if you watched us before, you know that we have this little prepper group. Not too far away from us. It's about an hour away. And we meet once a month when we can.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to take a sip of my coffee.
We meet when we can.
We meet once a month when we can. Well, sometimes they have, camps they're going to or gun shows in town or something and it's canceled or weather. And they pick a different topic each month to discuss. And we've learned everything about fire safety to, what to do if there is an infiltration to, pressure canning, just foraging, everything. And bug out bags. It's just a really neat group, and we always glean something. And so, this particular meeting, they asked me to teach about making soap, but they wanted it to be where it could be supplies that you could get locally, like not have to rely on Amazon or a soap making website to get the stuff. And so we were happy to do that. We actually had a really good time. And it brought to mind, the supply chain issues because you guys know this is an election year. And I was thinking about this morning, Timmy. When we had 4 years ago during the election year, everything happened very, very fast, very quick. They didn't slow roll it in, I don't think. I think they toyed with the whole virus thing for a couple months, about 4 months, from November to with the actual election to February because, and I have my reasons for saying that. One of my friends was traveling in at an international airport, and she picked up the big C really early in the game, and she almost died. She had like lung failure and was in the hospital and everything. And I think she got some of the earlier strains of it or the earlier strain of it, and it was pretty strong. And but anyhow, and then come March, they did that full roll. They shut us down, they closed businesses, and they just continued. It wasn't like the frog in the pot boiling slowly, right? Before you knew it, we couldn't get toilet paper, we couldn't get bread, yeast, you name it, canning jars. The shelves were empty because people went in that panic mode, and the people going in the panic mode hyperinflated the supply chain issues. But then you had the ports that were closed because they said they had to do the COVID testing, and it cannonballed from there. Remember all that?
Oh yeah. I mean, the result from it was
Catastrophic almost.
yeah, it really messed with some people. And
Me too. I
it,
mean, I was mad when I couldn't go to
but
the store and get some things that I needed.
and the thing about it, it's just a reminder, and it just that what can happen, and to be a little more prepared.
It lets
I
you
know,
know
I know
where
we
your weak
can't live
links
our
are.
lives always in fear and trying to, well, I got to have all of this to get through. But,
You shouldn't live one day in fear.
well, yeah, but I mean, just you need to be prepared to some extent, you know,
Oh, well, that's the whole thing. Oops.
but
I
just
can't
you
figure out
can't.
this dark issue, y'all. Hang on just a second.
And sometimes I don't even know if there's an answer for it. It's just, sometimes
Is that
we have to deal with things as they come, and it's being prepared mentally, and
preparing for peace? Our whole
yeah.
thing, prepping for peace.
So it's
Because if you prep now and you have everything stored that you need when the emergencies hit, whether it be weather or financial, your job, your health, you have more peace. It doesn't make those problems go away. But
and you aren't one of the thousands who are going to the store and just cleaning the shelves off. I mean,
oh my
so
stars, y'all don't ever be
that's
that
that's what we're
person.
trying to get away from. It's just
Saving it for everybody.
yeah.
Let them fight over the toilet paper. Don't be that person. But saying all that, this coming pandemic, whatever they got going on, they're rolling out the chicken flu. I think there's going to be a couple other things tossed in there. I honestly think it's going to be a slow roll. I don't think, just you don't quote me on this, y'all. I don't think it's going to be a in your face shocking moment that everybody will see it's going happening right at the same time. I think they're kind of going to do it as a slow roll where you don't even realize it's happening and it's happening.
Well, the media will definitely control that,
Well, yeah,
and that
absolutely.
and the effect that you get from it will determine whether it it happens quick or not, because you're the one that's going to freak out and start running
Or
out
have
and,
peace.
or have peace about it.
It
So,
doesn't take a whole lot for somebody to run the sky is falling and everybody else to start looking up, you
yeah,
know? Um, but the reason why I say that is because I posted something on our blog page on Facebook the other day asking if people were noticing supply chain issues, you know? And for instance, we've gone into the major grocery store chains. Oh, good morning, Linda. How are you, honey? Good morning, Dad. Dad, I was just thinking about you. You didn't haven't texted me near a bit since the moment you left, and I've sent you a couple messages. Say I don't communicate. Um,
I know what he's saying right now.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can hear him.
Well, your phone works too. Um, but anyhow, and I posted, did y'all has anybody experienced these supply chain issues? Because I've seen it in, like I said, some of the major grocery store chains. I'll go in there and stuff is just gone. Like
Yeah,
it used to be there, it's not there anymore. And so the selections have definitely decreased. I don't think they're leaving the shelves empty like they used to, where you just go and there's a bare shelf, but they're just removing the space that it used to be there and spreading the rest of the stuff out a little bit. And with my one of my jobs is I make a collision company. We transportation trucks like the semi trucks, the big box trucks, and does that I work for. And when I was talking, you know, so they're responsible for transporting all of our goods and wares outside of, you know, you've got ships, trains, and trucks and airplanes. But it sounds like the movie
there. Yeah, planes, trains,
Trains
and
and
automobiles.
Automobiles. I know, sorry. Are you gonna get coffee?
No,
Oh, how come?
no, good.
You don't want coffee?
I might get some. You go
Okay.
ahead and talk. I'll listen.
Anyhow, when we can't get parts, and then we keep getting notices that Freightliner or International and all of the big semi companies, their parts are they've been hacked. We've had that what 4 times in the last month or more, and that they had supply chain issues and they didn't know when they were going to get us products. One of the trucking companies that we, or one of the businesses that we deal with, handle like front end alignments and axles for the big rigs. And I've been waiting on an axle for this van since February. And he's like, Amber, I can't get it in. I don't know what to tell you. And now here I'm having to tell Ryder Truck, I don't know what to tell you. We can't put your truck on the road. And so, and he said the business is really hard right now. He goes, I can't even tell you how many other businesses like ours are closing down. And I said, why? He said, the economy, no money, they're losing it. They can't afford to stay open. And y'all, these aren't just the little itty bitty mom and pop places. These are the ones that are responsible for the transportation of our goods that we rely on. And then, so Kathy, my friend Kathy, I'd have to, I know a lot of Kathys, so I'd have to explain more about so you remember who she is. But she's a fellow blogger. She has a homestead blog. Their home was hit by a tornado. It's been several months. I'm saying almost, if I would venture to guess, you know, closer to 3/4 of a year. They still don't have working streetlights in their community
Hmm.
because they haven't gotten able to get the supplies and parts.
Wow.
Now that's a city or a town. I don't know how big it is where she lives. I know it's out in the country a little bit, but I do know she moved more to an urban area. And they cannot get the parts for their streetlights, y'all. That's kind of major.
That's
You know, that's not, oh, we ran out of your favorite brand of sugar or flour. Street lights that control the traffic in their area, they can't get the parts for. And just like I said, with the trucking industry that I'm involved in, you know, that is responsible. One of our vendors or one of our clients is Sherwood Foods. And if y'all are familiar with Sherwood Foods, they're like Gordon Foods. You know, that's where our food comes from all that they're having problems as well. So what do we do with this information? Y'all? That wasn't a rhetorical question.
I don't know.
God bless my husband. You prep for peace, knowing that these things are coming ahead, knowing, I mean, that's the whole thing. That's the whole premise about being a prepper or a homesteader, is that you prepare for all the what ifs.
So is that why we go and shop and buy stuff now? We buy two packages of toilet paper instead of one like we used to, and we do that every time. So we're not going to run out of toilet paper, hopefully.
You've been eating more vegetables. I've needed to buy extra toilet
Well, it
paper.
is mulling season, and there's lamb's ear and all that growing out there. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
always have
y'all.
that.
Not always. I mean, you gotta have, but there is alternatives. And if you guys want a toilet paper alternative, I have a whole article about it, and there's some really good alternatives for that. But this is what we've been talking about for the last couple of years: is prepping for peace. Prep now so you have peace later in the midst of chaos. The calm and the storm. And that's where I think that we need to be headed. So, for instance, with the soap, let's go back to the soap class that we did on Sunday. We're talking about, so my soap that I traditionally make, that I've always had for sale, it's the same recipe I've used since I've started. It has several different oils in it. And you have coconut oil, we've got castor oil, we've got olive oil, we have shea butter, I have palm oil, sustainably harvested palm oil, organic. And so I have several different oils in it. Not one of those can I produce on our homestead. Not one for my soap recipe. So if it happened and I couldn't get those, I couldn't make that soap anymore. And that's kind of the point that this class was at. And the lye that we use, you can get at any plumbing store, hardware store. You can get online. But if you can't, because you can't have soap without lye. And if you want to know more about that, I'll tell you, but you cannot have soap without lye. You can make your own. It's a very laborious, long process, but you can make your own with wood ash. We'll cover that later. But the oil, soap, you need three things. You need a liquid, you need an oil, and you need your lye. Lye you can do from your wood ash. You can always have wood ash if you have a fire. You have your your liquid, could be water, could be beer, could be other liquids that you use, as long as they're clean and they're purified or what have you. And then your oils. So if you can't get your hands on olive oil or sunflower oil or all the oils I mentioned that I used in my soap recipe, you would turn to your animal oils or fats. And so that's what we did, is we took beef fat and we rendered our tallow in, or you could do it with lard. You do any animal that has fat: chicken, duck, raccoon, deer. Sam makes a deer fat soap that's really good, except deer are pretty lean meat. So it would take a lot of, deer, but you could do it. Bears are really fatty. So there's definitely alternatives, and you just render it down, make your oil, and then you can use it to make soap. And that was one of the things that I think everybody was so stinking funny.
No, as long as it doesn't take a whole deer to make one bar of soap, we're good.
Well, you eat the meat, Joker.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You ain't missing out. You have the hide you can tan and you can use for a rug. You can use it for, covers. You can use it for clothes. You can use it for a lot of things. And then, I mean, nothing would go to waste. Or you just thought you'd be funny.
no, I'm just, I mean, I'm
You're
a
entertaining.
deer is, you know, he's like,
We only needed about 5 pounds of beef fat to make roughly 16 to 18 bars of soap. Now that should last you for a whole year. And you get a lot more than 5 pounds of fat off of one cow. So there's your math on that one.
and a deer, you probably get about,
I would think that you would get 5 pounds of fat off of one deer.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you just think about that package that we had. That's 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about the whole deer,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If not, make 8 bars of soap instead of 16.
Yeah.
So that is, but anyways, that's what I'm talking about, prepping for peace. And I don't think that it would hurt you any to do an inventory of your home, your homestead, your wherever you live. And when I say do an inventory is check out the things that you purchase or need for your quality of life on a daily basis. Start very personal. Start with your meds. You know, how much, for instance, um, a person that I work with, they have to have these meds to function properly. And those meds have been on back order and out of short supply since since well after Christmas, I think.
Mm.
And I have called every pharmacy in the area. They have the generic version, but the generic version does not work with him. And so we scrounge every month, calling every single pharmacy within several hour radius to see if anybody has 30, just to get them month to month. And that last day, it's always just a sense of emergency. And unfortunately, he's not in the position where he could, you know, stock an extra 30 days supply because they had this information beforehand, before there was the short, better prepared. And a couple that we had dinner with last night, um, they are physically handicapped and they both require meds to function. And their doctor has worked with them about, and they have a holistic doctor as well that owns a health food store that's worked with them about finding natural alternatives. So their primary care, their kids, now they're adults, but we say kids, primary care physician is working with the holistic medical professional to create alternatives for the children in situations like this. Plus, they are helping them be able to store a couple months' supply if the supply chain goes bad.
Yeah,
And you
it
can get your
is.
coffee, baby.
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah. But yeah, the daily things that we use is, those are the things that we need to make sure we have
The things that you can't function without.
stock on.
But
And you can acquire these things, gradually, you
mhm,
know.
with your meds, you know, a pill here or there.
Yeah.
You can ask your pharmacist, you can ask your doctor if they can get you an extra bottle for emergency purposes. Say for traveling, there are some other options that you could do to get you an extra bottle of your have to meds, but they're not necessarily,
Ethical.
yeah. Now, I wouldn't suggest this, but I've heard of people saying, because I'm in prepper groups and they talk about this stuff. I say, call your pharmacy and say you lost a bottle. Don't do it more than once, but call your pharmacy and say you lost a bottle. Or call your pharmacy and say it dropped on the floor or what have you. Now, again, I would never do this.
She couldn't live with herself.
Yeah, that's actually the lying makes me nauseous. But they do it so because they're prepping for an emergency. They're preparing for the what ifs. And you know, they do have an expiration date on them, so you have to be mindful of that. But then start with your very, very personal, what do I have to function? Do I have to have a CPAP machine? Well, what happens if we don't have power? How is that CPAP machine going to operate? Start there and then go further into your home, you know, about the things that you need for
Yeah.
prepping for peace.
Yeah.
And there are alternatives for everything. And I can't say 100% certain for everything, but pretty much everything that you need to function normally. Yeah.
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 That's good. That's good stuff, man.
Oh, goodness. Oops, sorry. Why am I sorry? My foot was there. You're the one that kicked me.
Sorry. We're both sorry.
Yeah, it's a you know, you can sit there and watch the news or watch the back channels and stuff and get stressed out. The Bible says we're not supposed to, it says 365 times in the Bible, one for every day, do not fear. So we're not supposed to live in fear. We're not supposed to spread fear either. We need, as fellow believers, we need to be the ones that provide people peace in the midst of chaos. I can't stand to hear a believer, a brother, sister in Christ go, I'm so scared of this. Oh, I'm just frightful. And I'm like, I want to just do that kind of thing to them.
Faith shake 'em.
I'm taking that. Faith shaking.
Oh my.
There we go.
But yeah, you start watching the news. I mean, it's going to feed on your emotions.
You're gonna
and it's
get
going to
anxiety.
create anxieties, and you're off with the wrong foot, man.
Yeah, because some of the back channel gossip is, they're expecting some extreme supply chain issues. Extreme. And for the most part, I would say 99.9% of Joe Public, you will go in complete chaos mode. You're talking about, mob mentality. I've seen people on Black Friday. You can amplify that times 100 if we do have some of the things happen that they're talking about that will happen. Um, During that time, stay your butt at home.
Yeah.
Don't go out and try to fight those crowds at stores and stuff. But hopefully you're
Yeah,
prepped.
I think your Black Friday days are over.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because
there ain't
the
nothing I
world we
need.
live in today, you're walking out in the middle of a battlefield.
I don't even think they have them anymore. I think they did away with them
Yeah,
during COVID. Everything's
yeah,
online now.
that's good.
It is. But it brought out the worst in people.
Yeah.
And so, you need to do your due diligence. If you're hearing our voices, you need to start prepping if you haven't already. And I'm not talking about for zombie apocalypse, although you could. I'm talking about the next hurricane, the next fire season, the next election. But you should prep no less than 2 weeks worth of everything that you need at your home. And that is water, electricity, it's lights, it's your medicine, it's your animal food, your livestock feed, everything that your household needs for at least 2 weeks, at least bare
Yeah.
minimum. That's your bare minimum go to. If you're like, Amber, I don't have the money. Yes, you do. You can figure it out. Let me tell you something. I'm very frugal and I have lived on a budget as tight as anybody. And there's still ways to prep. There's still
Yeah.
there's still ways to prep for the necessities and the things that you need.
And I think we need to have a backup for certain things in case it does go longer.
Yep.
And just like your animal food, I mean, there's you can make your food. I mean, that's
Well, yeah, you have to have the ingredients to make your food though.
right.
So there goes part of your preps again too. But yeah, you start with your inventory and as far as that goes, and you figure out the things like, for instance, I use coconut oil. Guess what? Coconuts don't grow in Tennessee. So I need to figure out an alternative to what I could use as a substitute for that so I don't panic during if I can't get coconut oil anymore. Um, that's the start. Same thing with rice. We use a lot of rice. Where would I get rice if the supply chain, broke and I ran out of my preps and storage? So those are the types of things that we need to be mindful of and have a backup plan. But not only that, it's more than just a backup plan. It's implementing that plan now. So you're not having to utilize those skills, those preps in an emergency situation.
You talking about putting them into practice now and
Yes.
being able to,
Yes.
yeah,
Absolutely. So, for instance, if you have protection, the pew pew type, but you've never used a pew pew, now would be a good time to get some lessons and go to a target range instead of needing to use the pew pew. Get it? Pew, pew, pew.
never heard it called that, but
Well, that's what I type when I'm trying to say what it is, the sound. Yeah. Pew, pew, pew.
sounds like a little bird.
But you get what I'm saying, right?
I get what you're saying.
What say y'all? You guys are quiet today. What's up with that? What's up? Oh, look, before we go, y'all, because it's about our time. Next Saturday we won't be here.
You won't?
I don't think.
Or
I
we
don't
won't?
know. Huh?
Oh yeah, that's right.
We have been approached about filming a documentary for a British Broadcasting Network TV show, and we agreed to it. But you never
Agreed
know.
to it.
I agree to it without his consent. But you forgive me. Anyway, so they're supposed to be flying in next Thursday and filming us for 2 days and then going back on their merry way. And I don't even know if it's a channel that we could watch. I don't know a whole lot. You think I'd know more before I agree to something like this. But we're supposed to be filming next Saturday. So if we're filming next Saturday, we won't be here. If we aren't filming next Saturday, we'll have coffee with y'all. Either way, we're having coffee somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have coffee.
We'll have coffee. We never not have coffee.
Yeah. So
Just sometimes we don't have the luxury of being able to sit down and have coffee. We're like walking, making soap, and rendering lard to have coffee. But y'all have a blessed day. If you guys can think of some case scenarios or some things that people should start preparing for, or even have insights on any shortages, right now, I don't know specifically of any shortages that would affect us in our home directly. But I do know, on a bigger scale, like I said, with the trucking company that I work for, and even our friend with the traffic lights and stuff, of course, that affects a lot of people about those shortages. But and that's why I think it's a slow boil, y'all, because if you take little bits and pieces away and scooch everything else in on the aisle, you don't notice it. Would if you walked in, it was just an empty shelf. And I think that's kind of what's happening right now.
well, hopefully everybody knows how to read a stop sign.
I don't even know if they have the signs out. I'm just like,
well, let's put the stop signs back up. The traffic lights. We can't get the traffic lights.
All right, y'all. Well, you guys have a blessed day, and we'll see you either in a week or 2 weeks. Take care now.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.